Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Stats That Exist But Do Not Matter. It is brought to you by the DraftKings Sportsbook. And guys, I don't have to tell you how important it is to make a good first impression. Most people are going to remember the first thing you say or do around them, so it's important that that is a good thing. And in terms of baseball, the best first impression a hitter can make is hitting a home run in his first at-bat, let alone his first pitch he sees in the major leagues. This is an incredibly rare feat that we don't see a lot. In fact, all time, only 31 players ever have homered on the first pitch they saw in the major leagues. And this list has some crazy names and crazy stories that we are going to dive into today. First off, some of the names that don't have great stories but are just really interesting in retrospect. Adam Wainwright, he homered on his first pitch seen in the major leagues. A pretty good, pitcher turned hitter, but not something I would expect to see him included in. We also have Kevin Kuzmanoff, who was a highly touted prospect for the Padres. Never really panned out, but he also accomplished this feat. The most recent one is Akil Baddoo, our friend Fuzzy. That's his favorite player on the Detroit Tigers. He also accomplished this as well. And of course, for my Mets fans watching out there, Kaz Matsui, he was also able to get it done as well. That's my guy. But the real fun thing is some of the stories that go with these first pitch home runs, because they're just wild. And we're also going to dive into when this player hit their second home run and how much time elapsed in between. Let's start with Akil Baddoo. He's the most recent one that we mentioned before. His second home run that he hit one day later would be a grand slam in the bottom of the ninth, which in most cases would be a walk-off winner. It didn't matter much because all it did was make the score 15-6 in favor of Minnesota. Not so good. Wilson Contreras came up for those special 2016 Cubs. They did something that year. I don't really remember what they did. He homered on the first pitch he saw in the major leagues, and 3 days later he accomplished his second home run and was pretty damn good for them. Although I think that relationship is a little bit strained now that he's a Cardinal. Eddie Rosario of Braves fame was originally a Minnesota Twin, and on May 6, 2015, he homered on the first pitch he saw in the big leagues. Why is this special? Well, because our friend Trevor Plouffe is hanging out in the dugout cheering him on. This one was really memorable for me. Starling Marte back in July of 2012 with the Pirates on the come-up. He was a rookie facing off against another rookie in Dallas Keuchel. Keuchel would go on to win the Cy Young, but he served up a tater to Marte, and he homered on the first pitch he saw in the big leagues against the Astros. You guys want another pitcher? How about Tommy Malone? Probably not the name you were expecting, but in September of 2011, the only home run he hit in his career came on the first pitch he saw in the big leagues. Of course, it was a 3-run shot against my Mets. Sorry to me. It literally says, "Sorry, Jolly," in the script. Can we zoom in on that? I mean, this is just, you can't get it. This is not real life. This is crazy. It's a simulation. How about a guy who homered on his first pitch he saw in the big leagues and then hit his second home run that same game? That would be JP Arencibia for the Toronto Blue Jays, who did so on August 7th, 2010. It took him 4 innings in between as he homered in the second and then homered again in the 6th inning. Not to mention, he went 4 for 4 that day with a double and a single. That's a hell of an MLB debut. But my personal pick for the most memorable first pitch home run is something near and dear to Boston faithful fans. That's Daniel Nava, who on June 12th, 2010, hit a grand slam on the first pitch he saw in the big leagues. His next home run didn't come for the next 702 days. May 14th, 2012, he was DFA'd after the 2010 season, didn't make it back up to the big leagues for a couple years, and finally got that second home run after nearly 2 years. But if we're looking for the most niche answer we could possibly find, that would happen to belong to Mark Sacomano, who's got maybe the most Italian name I've ever heard. I don't have a picture of him. Here's a picture. Mikey's going to throw it up. Maybe he's not even Italian. Who the hell knows? He homered on the first pitch he saw on September 8th, 2008, and then he only had 10 more at-bats for his entire career. He never got another home run. He does have this claim to fame, and that is literally it. Good for my guy, Mark Sacomano. So yeah, who knows when we're going to see the next rookie who hits a home run on his first pitch in the big leagues. It doesn't happen very often. Hell, it could never happen again. We don't really know for sure. But what we do know is that this is something you probably shouldn't bet on, because there's plenty of other things you can bet on at the DraftKings Sportsbook, the sponsor for today's episode of Stats That Exist But Do Not Matter. Right now, if you download their free and easy-to-use app, you can get in on the action with code STATS, S-T-A-T-S. You can bet $5 on any wager and win $150 in bonus bets. Right now, you can use that on some same-game parlays. You can check out all of their fun bonuses and offers to try and maximize your payout while watching the sports that you love. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details, and any resources you might need for a gambling problem or addiction are listed down below. As always, gamble responsibly and do it at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Guys, thank you for watching this episode of Stats That Exist But Do Not Matter, and we'll see you next week. Hopefully, if you're watching for the first time, I made a good impression on you. Hopefully, for the first time, it seems like I hit a home run out of the park.